Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you that are on the West Coast, I believe it's still morning there, so I'm glad you could join us. Sent out this invite yesterday with the link, so it's great. We see more than 15 attendees already joined, which is great. So my name is Paul Schmick, and for everybody on the call, I'll just be hosting through this for both David Von Pileski, who is with Alliance Security, and many of you have met David. He is the manager of IT and Enterprise Security Services for Alliance. And we also have James Manning on the call. And James has been really helpful throughout this process. And he is a pre-sales engineer for Panda Security. So just to run down just quickly, 60 seconds so we can get right into it. We sent out, or I had sent out a list yesterday of just some of the bullet points that we'd be covering for you to kind of give you this this digital agenda list for you to look through as we look through the call, as we go through the WebEx, which is if that's helpful. And as I communicate yesterday, we will not have audio. We do have the chat box, but we felt what might be better is if you have follow-up questions, we maybe just email them to pschmick@alliance.us. So you'll have my email from yesterday, since the agenda list had come from me yesterday. So you could send those follow-ups to me, and we will address them collectively between myself, David, and James. And lastly, what we felt was best, and I did communicate this, we will be sending this out. So James is recording this so that we will be able to send this out so you can do some follow-ups and maybe surgically point more questions to us when this is complete. And we just felt that would be helpful for all of you that are joining. So with that said, I will turn it over to James and David, who will be taking you through the systems management platform. So James, please take it over. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Paul, and thank you to all of you for showing up today. As Paul said, my name is James Manning. I'm a pre-sales engineer here at Panda Security. And the product we're going to be focusing on today is systems management. Hopefully we'll be able to make this pretty beneficial and informative for you today. I think as we go through the product, you'll find that there's a high level of ease of use for you. And it's at the same time a very powerful product. So to start off the presentation, we're going to begin on what we call the My Services page. And it's kind of an important starting point for us today. Mainly what we want to highlight here is a high level of simplicity. With this solution, you're not going to be required to invest in and have to manage a lot of infrastructure like servers and methods to connect into those servers and so on. Really, all that you need to access this solution is an internet connection and a browser. There's a lot of benefits to that, and that you can access this solution anywhere. While you're on the go, while you're in the office. You may be in the airport, in a coffee shop, at work, or even, maybe you're taking a sick day at home and you need to check something out. The simple access is going to easily allow you to do that. When we get to the My Services page, what we're going to find is all of the solutions that we're currently using are going to be listed here in their own individual tiles. We see systems management here, but also our Adaptive Defense 360 product. We're going to focus on systems management today. So let's go ahead and get into the solution. All we have to do to access it is click onto our tile, and with systems management, it's going to drop us right into our sites page. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail on that in just a second, but we want to take a little bit of time now to sort of get a lay of the land of some main points inside of the console. Primarily, what we want to look at is into the Setup tab. Most likely, you're not going to be the only person that is going to be using this solution and managing this solution. So we have the ability in here to create multiple users. Along with that ability, we have the option of creating multiple security levels. And this is important because you may have staff members or technicians that you may only want to have access to a specific site. You don't want them to see everything, and you don't want them to see the setup side of the product. So with our security levels, we're able to custom tailor what kind of access each person is able to get to the solution. Additionally, in our setup page, a convenience feature that we'll find here and will come into use later is we have the ability to enter and store credentials for accessing certain features, such as deploying our agents, our simple network management protocol credentials, and even any VMware credentials that we may need to use later on. From here, we need to take a look at the different levels of organization for this product. What you'll find is that systems management is organized and operates on 3 levels. Those are the account level, the site level, and the device level. And there's reasons for that, and we'll try to sort of elaborate on that as we go through. But starting at the account level, this is going to encompass everything that is inside of our console. So if we have 5 different customer sites, this includes all of those sites. And where we see that illustrated the best is under policies, when we start to set up and manage these. We see we have 2 here, one in particular managing our network firewalls. Now, where this comes into play is you may have a setting or a policy or procedure that applies the same way across all of your customers. And you don't want to have to go into each customer site and repeat that setting time and time and time again. The account level policies allow us to create one overarching policy that applies to everybody that is inside of the console. Our next level is our site level. You're going to be spending most of your time in the solution at the site level. This is where we will find all of our different customer sites organized, as we see here with our example of General Mercantile downtown. Now, our site level also has unique policies available to it, as we saw at the account level. The difference is these policies, as we see down here, apply only to this particular site, and they override account level policies. So we can start to create unique policies for specific needs. Additionally, what we'll find over here is we have some further sort of sorting mechanisms and filtering mechanisms that apply inside of our site. We have the ability to group our devices into little subsets here, such as IP cameras, servers, and even our sonic walls. And with our filters, we have the ability to look through our devices based on certain things like hardware or even software, as we see in this instance, where we're looking for access media control or instances of facility commanders. Our next level, which is our lowest level, is going to be the device level. That is our individual devices, and our device filters and our groups apply at this level as well. At our device level, we get into information on that individual device. We can see what type of device it is, maybe some performance information, and so on. Now that we have sort of the lay of the land, as far as the console is concerned in the 3 different levels, the next step that we want to take a look at is the process that we're going to go through to actually create and populate a new site. It is a really simple process. Under our Sites tab, all we have to do is come in and click on the New Site button. We're going to give it a name that we will most likely associate to the physical site itself. We'll associate it to any groups that we may want to, and then click Save. Once that is complete, our new site will instantly show up here under our sites list, and we can begin to populate that with our devices. Adding devices comes in a couple of different manners, and there's typically going to be a procedure or a path that you're going to want to follow to fill this out. We recommend starting with your servers or your workstations first, because they are going to be the workhorses in going out and identifying and acquiring all of our other devices, such as our cameras. So in order to add a new device, such as a desktop or a server, inside of the site, all we have to do is click on New Device. We can either download an agent directly, as recommended here, or we could choose a separate operating system or device type and download it directly. Once we have completed the install on our servers and workstations, they are going to appear in our device list for this particular site. At this point, as we said, we're going to make our servers our workhorses for finding our other solutions or our other devices inside of the site. And it's a simple matter of coming in and selecting that device, setting it as a network node, and including network scanning. Now, this device is likely going to be on its own subnet, but we're not limited to that subnet. As we see in the settings for each particular site, you have the ability to specify additional subnets that you want that device to scan. Now, after we have our settings input and our device starts scanning, we're going to wait until the devices start showing up, and they will appear under our audit tab. They're going to be listed out based on the type of devices that they are. And as we see here, we have several potential cameras that were found through our scanning. Adding these cameras or these devices is a simple matter as well. All we need to do is select on those devices and choose Manage. Those devices are going to be collected and added into our device list. At this point, we've gone through, we've created our site. We've set up our server, which is our workhorse, had it scan the network. It's found the devices that we've wanted to add, and we've included those into our device list. So our next step is being able to keep an eye on things that are going wrong. Simple matter to do that as well. We've seen a little bit of this before. What we're going to do is we're going to come into our policy section, and we're going to create monitors. As we see in this example, we have a monitor here that is looking to see if a camera ever goes offline. We'll click into this and take a look. We can specify a time limit, whether or not this is a critical to a low type of alert for us. We have the ability to email ourselves a notification whenever this is triggered. We can even create a support ticket for us to manage later and assign it to a specific user with its own priority. And it's as simple as that. We've just gone through and created the alert or created the policy that's going to alert us if a camera ever goes offline. Now, if that event is triggered, we are going to receive a notification at the email address that we have specified that says, under a particular site, a device has triggered an alert. In this case, it was for a performance monitor for CPU. We would receive the same type of alert if our cameras went offline. From there, we're able to go back into our console, click into our site, and visit the Monitor tab. The Monitor tab is going to list out all of our alerts for us, and in some instances, when we click into them, they're going to provide additional details regarding that device or regarding that alert. In this case, this was our CPU alert. We reached a certain threshold. We get a look at exactly why we reached that threshold. We can see which programs were running at the time. And to remind you, this is all so far without ever visiting or logging into the device. Also, if we've created a support ticket automatically in response to this incident, we're going to be able to see those support tickets here. We can access those. We can change the status, the priority. We can assign it to a different user, and we can even own our own or even add our own comments to that support ticket. Now that we've received our notification of the incident occurring, we may want to take a little bit of a closer look. This doesn't mean that we even have to get up from our desks to go to that server or to that device to do so. We build in a lot of remote options here for you to utilize that really simplify this process. For instance, we received an alert on our server here of CPU usage. We can very simply from the console come in and say, I want to connect to this device. From our device, our agent is going to open up and make a connection to that server. With this connection, we're going to be presented with a lot of troubleshooting utilities that you can use to get to the root of the problem. We can access things like services or error logs, anything of that nature to help us further troubleshoot on the device. Unless that you think this is limited to only servers and workstations, we also have the ability to interact with our cameras. For instance, let's say we receive a notice that our access camera here in the south elevator has an issue. We'd like to maybe get in and do a restart on that. With this solution, you have the ability to open up a connection to that camera, as we see here. We'll start that connection, which is going to automatically open up a PuTTY application for us. And there you go. We are now connected to that camera. Now, once that connection has been firmly established, you'll see we're able to get feedback from the camera. And we can perform some additional steps. We can either take advantage of the commands that are specified here, or we can do simple things such as a reboot on the camera. All we need to do is log into it, supply our credentials, and then just issue a simple command to reboot the camera. And as we see, we'll get the response here, goodbye. That camera is now in the process of rebooting for us. So hopefully, as you can see here with our systems management solution, it's going to allow you to get equipment installed and commissioned at a customer site. And this is further going to allow you to provide unattended monitoring on any warranted equipment that you may issue. There are a lot of built-in tools that are going to provide for worry-free operation of security equipment. Also protect against things like hardware failure and cybersecurity events. One of the big benefits for you is that this is going to allow your service and your maintenance to shift from being a reactive type of service to being one that is proactive. You're not going to have to worry about waiting on that customer call to say, I think I have a camera down or a server's acting funny. You're going to be able to see this ahead of time, be able to proactively respond and head it off at the path, which is going to elevate your service in the industry. And Paul, with that, I will turn it back over to you, sir.
Thanks so much, James. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to maybe just get David to just speak to it, since we've been working with the tool for many, many months. And David has helped and been instrumental in helping and working with Panda to really make this a security-centric product, not just an IT-centric product, but a security technology-centric product. So Dave, if you just want to just share some high points based on the systems management, the value that you see it. I think James mentions the proactiveness compared to the reactiveness, which typically we're in the business of, and whatever points just in a minute or two on that you feel would just help create the picture from what James has showed. So thanks, Dave.
Absolutely. So this for us has been a game changer. The reason being is because, as he stated before, we have now become proactive. So what happens now is, instead of having a customer calling or complaining about their equipment, we know ahead of time about failures, about systems overheating, even SQL instances that are on their way out, events on systems that are, we're just scratching the surface of the ability of this system. You know, we're, like I said, we're really not an IT company. We're more of a integrator. So, you know, for us, this was a game changer as far as a tool for us. You know, and for the industry, I would say it would be it would be beneficial. I really, yeah, it's pretty much all I have. If you want to take over, Paul.
Yeah. So thanks, James and Dave. So yeah, and just speaking for my ability when I'm going in and negotiating contracts, whether service contracts or maintenance contracts or new installations, this has really given us a strategic advantage when we pair the Adaptive 360, which I know we shared the webinar on, as well as the systems management approach for the cost that we get. it's truly makes us unique in our area and gives us a tool that I think 5 years from now this will be common. I think 3 years from now it may be common. I know that the integrators are moving more into the IT space, and it's actually opened up new revenue buckets for us in terms of crossing over to the IT-centric world, which there are more decision makers on security systems in that space that we're dealing with. Probably 50% of the people that are decision makers on the proposals we send are IT-centric compared to 5 years ago, maybe 20 or 25%. So I hope that it was effective in just demonstrating the ease of use today and managing and importing everything from the sonic wall to the server to cameras, and the ability to be able to even do simple reboots, as you saw. The thing James didn't maybe highlight on that I'd just like to speak to very quickly is just the fact that the utility and the encryption it gives us to connect has been very big for us. We typically use a utility called BoundGuard that David had brought into the organization some time ago, and it's this encryption in so that we can prove we're protected in how we remote into the systems. Those licenses cost me initially about $3,600 to $4,000 a license, and then it's a $1,700 to $1,800 renewal each year for the licensing. For a simple licensing cost, this gives us that ability. So it's not only given us revenue buckets, it's also saved us money and protected us. So
and BoundGuard doesn't actually log into cameras and things like that.
Right.
Just the ability to do that.
Right. So it's an enhanced tool for much reduced cost. So I really hope you found the value of this demo, and it's amazing. It hasn't taken a lot of time to go through a lot of information, but since we realize the complexity of it and it's somewhat new, what we will do is I will, when James prepares the replay of this, what I would like to do for the entire group that I emailed yesterday is send both the adaptive defense webinar again that we actually recorded some time ago in October that will take you through that, as well as this, so that you'll have both. And then I thought what would be prudent, and I did communicate to Bill and I believe some members on the call, is that we'll give you a week or so maybe to look through the information again, and then maybe we'll schedule another conference call a week from now, and then determine who would like demo licenses, which we have coordinated with Panda to be able to offer the dashboard and demo licenses for you for 30 days for no cost to you, so that you would be able to basically set up a system and bring a system in exactly how we have. With that said, that is all I have. Like I said, I know you can't speak to it, so if you have any questions, just please forward them to me, and I will communicate internally with both Panda and Alliance, so you can send them to pschmick@alliance.us. Be more than happy to pair you with James or with David and get more specific once the replay of this goes out. And James, can you just give some visibility on how long it would take to convert this to, I know it's recording, but be able to get me the link so that I can pair it with our our adaptive defense link and send it out to the group?
It will absolutely be before the end of the day. I would imagine I should have this ready within 2 hours.
Okay. So there you go. So hopefully by the end of the day, for everyone on the call, I will be forwarding both out again. And again, if you have any just specific questions for me, or just please, again, we're just trying to extend the olive branch to help where we can and communicate so that everyone's in full understanding of the capacity and the technology. So with that said, I wish everybody, thank you, Dave and James, for participating and offering great insight. And for everybody else on the call, I wish you well this weekend, and more to come. So with that said, thank you and have a great weekend. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.